Hello, General Biology. This tutorial video is about observations, inferences, and prior knowledge. We are discussing this because biology is a science. It is the study of life. And so scientists have figured out some things about how life works, and we're going to discuss that during this course. But we have this question about how do scientists figure this out, and what is scientific knowledge specifically? So I'd like to discuss scientific knowledge. Before we get to scientific knowledge, though, there's some basics about information that we need to discuss. And those three things are observations, prior knowledge, and inferences. So we're going to discuss those first and walk through an example. First, let's discuss our terms. Prior knowledge is information you know about a topic or a subject before you're there making observations. So we all have different prior knowledge in our brains based on our experiences and the discussions and observations we have had in our own past. So first, we've got our prior knowledge. Then we go into a situation and we make observations. An observation is gathering information about your environment or the situation using your senses. So we can see, smell, taste, touch, and hear information, which we can then use and compare it to our prior knowledge to do our third thing, which is create an inference. An inference is an explanation of the situation based on our observations and prior knowledge. So we've got our definitions. Let's do an example. This is a photograph taken from the passenger seat of a vehicle. And let's start out with some observations. I'm going to move me here. We know that this top part of this picture is blue with little white splotches, and we've got some yellow and white parallel lines that are going off out into the distance. On the side and across the middle of the top, there are some black lines that are connected to these what look like poles. We've got some gray and brown lines on the left side, some areas of gray and brown. We've got some like green, like fuzzy things going off on the sides. Now, when I was describing that, I was describing our actual observations, but most of you already were at the inferences. Our brain doesn't wait. If our brain can make the observation and has prior knowledge for comparison, then it automatically goes to our inferences. We can see that there are trees, those are the green fuzzy things, and the sky is blue, and there's a building on the left side, and there are power lines, which are the black lines in the air, and the yellow and white lines are the street lines, and the black is the street, and we can see the dashboard of the car. We already started inferring all these things because our brain automatically takes our observations, compares it to our prior knowledge, and then makes an inference. So a lot of this picture we can explain right away, but there's one thing that we've got to discuss, that giant grasshopper in the middle. Now, we could make two inferences about that giant grasshopper. We could say, one, there is a giant grasshopper monster way far away that could attack the city, or we could make the inference that that grasshopper is standing on the windshield and it's a normal-sized grasshopper. So those are two inferences, and our observations can support both of those inferences. So how do we make the difference? Well, some inferences are more reliable than others. And the difference between a reliable inference and an unreliable inference has to do with how much prior knowledge we have to support the inference. So let's take our first inference, that is a giant grasshopper monster. How much prior knowledge, how much prior experience do we have with giant grasshopper monsters? I have never seen a giant grasshopper monster. I've never heard of anyone who's seen a giant grasshopper monster. I know we have seen giant monsters and giant insects in movies and books and television, but we also know that those giant monsters are not real. So the only experience we have with giant monsters are not real. So there's not a lot of support for the inference that that's a giant grasshopper monster. Now let's go to the other inference. Well, what if it's a regular grasshopper on our windshield? Well, we do know, I have personally had experiences with insects crawling across my windshield, so I have support for that idea. And I know that things that are closer to me look bigger than things that are farther away. So even though that grasshopper and that house looks to be the same size, I can use my prior knowledge to say that grasshopper could be closer to me, so it looks big, and the house is farther away, so it looks smaller, and that's why they look to be the same size. So now I actually have prior knowledge that supports the second inference. So for me, I'm going to have to say that second inference, that grasshopper is on the windshield, that is a more reliable inference. So I'm going to forget about the idea that it's a giant monster, and I'm going to go with it's a regular grasshopper on my windshield. So let's review. Observations are information gathered using our senses. Prior knowledge is what we know about a topic or situation before we make any observations. An inference is a proposed explanation based on observations and prior knowledge. And finally, an inference with more prior knowledge to support it is considered more reliable than an inference with less supporting prior knowledge. These are things that you'll want to know about observations, inferences, and prior knowledge.